Check, check, check. No. Check. Now it's on? Okay. All right. So, my name is Elizabeth, and I've just returned to Egypt, and it is really my delight and my joy and my honor to be able to share the Egyptian energies with you. Can you hear me? Oh, now it's really on. Yeah, big difference. So Egypt was a lot of this, just being in the energy and being the energy. So I prepared kind of a lot of fun experiences for us tonight. And I want to share first kind of what brought me to this pilgrimage to Egypt. So I've been with my spiritual teacher, Her Holiness Saima, for 19 years. And in 2011, I started to experience this kind of awakening in my cells that registered as trauma releasing from my body. And it really felt like a crisis. It was kind of constant pulsation of trauma and pain in my cells in the body. And I asked Ma, what's happening to me? And Ma gave me a couple of answers, and then Ma said, you're becoming Egyptian. And so this really awakened my curiosity. Well, what does that even mean? And then I started to learn that during that time I was calling back. I was calling that lifetime in ancient Egypt and calling those energies back to myself now. And that's part of what that awakening was. And I had been trained in many different energy systems, right? Practitioner of Reiki and Huna and Drasana and Nirya and, kind of just using my body as a lab, to bring the energies onto the planet and to be able to offer it to people. I did never really stop to think like, oh, this might have consequences for my physical body, but it's a good thing that I didn't. Just stayed the path, stayed the course. And so really, right, since 2011, it was just now, after all these years, that Ma had been talking about bringing the community to Egypt. And we finally just this past month got to go. And so it was really full circle for me, really a homecoming. And I don't really know what any of it means still. I just feel like a totally different human being. And I know something really profound occurred, and I don't know what that is. I'm just kind of rolling with the energies as I always have been. So I'm going to offer these sacred energies to you all tonight. And, my guess is that probably many of us have had lifetimes in Egypt, and so maybe it will be a bit of a homecoming for you too. Let me look at my notes here. All right, so just a little bit of context. There were 3 groups of 30 or 3 groups of 90 of us that went. So there was a week that went before my group, and they kind of initiated the energies. And so I was the middle group. So the energies were already really building by the time that we arrived. And we had a tour. We started in Cairo, and then we flew to Luxor, and then spent some time in Aswan as well. And went to many temples and had a lot of private meditations and activations in the temples and in the pyramids. But what I'm going to share is my experience with the Sphinx, and my experience in one of the temples of darkness and light, where we learned a bit about essential oil and took in the information of the essential oils in this temple. And then most significantly, the temple of Isis, a divine mother. Um, so, so the Sphinx, what was most touching for me about the experience at the Sphinx is so the Sphinx. Many people think the Sphinx is masculine, but actually the Sphinx is feminine and as a goddess, and she is the goddess Sekhmet. So I want to present Sekhmet because we'll be activating Sekhmet a little bit later in the evening with an activation of the goddess and the chakras. So I've had a lot of experience with Sekhmet. My most profound experience being right before I met my twin flame. I had a dream, and Sekhmet kind of scanned me to see, was I ready for this union, for this pure love? And I suppose I was, because then I met my twin flame. So I had this personal relationship with Sekhmet. But being there, being in Egypt, what touched me most deeply is that Sekhmet is the guardian of the earth. So she's this really fierce warrior goddess and a divine mother. But I just felt, right, you kind of hear these things and it seems a little bit like myth or like legend. But being there, it was very real. It was very palpable that this being named Sekhmet is guarding the earth as she ascends, as there's this battle between light and dark. She is our protector. And so I just felt so much gratitude for Sekhmet at the Sphinx. And so my relationship with her is now expanding. And has anyone had experience with Sekhmet? You have had, yeah. And you have also had, okay. So we're gonna have an experience with her now. We'll activate all the different goddesses in each of the chakras. I invite you to close your eyes. And begin breathing the base of your spine, the first chakra. We invoke our beloved Gaia. The Greek goddess who stretched her body across the sky and gave birth to the earth, to the oceans, to the soil, to the sands, the trees, the entire body of the planet, Gaia. Continuing to breathe into the first chakra, spiraling down toward the earth. This root, we welcome Gaia. Welcome her in the first chakra, the base of the spine. You welcome her strength. Welcome her empowerment. You can explore, where in your life do you not feel supported? Where do you need to anchor in your life more presence? Just allow Gaia to bless you in this area. And we can accept that we are safe, secure, embraced by the beauty of Gaia. Her beauty is your beauty. This gorgeous natural expression of life in its abundance and diverse forms. Expand Gaia through the first chakra, using the breath. Anchoring this blessing from Gaia. And now we move up to the second chakra, just below the navel. And we welcome the goddess Hathor, the Egyptian goddess Hathor. Breathing into the bowl of our hips between the pelvis and the navel. Welcome Hathor. Hathor, another emanation of Divine Mother, also known as the Lady of Jubilation. She blesses us with joy. Feel that joy. As we celebrate our body as our home, a sacred temple, our sensuality, it's a dance of life, celebration of life. We activate and expand the joy. And you can ask yourself, what part of your life do you take too seriously? What part of yourself do you take too seriously? And just allow that to lift, to lighten. Breathing the energy of Hathor, we rejoice in our connection with each other, with community, in all of our relationships. Embodying spirit. And we anchor the Hathor energies in the second chakra. Now moving up to the third chakra, above the navel, the solar plexus, the center of our worth and worthiness, our divine will, the seat of our power. We invoke Sekhmet, the ancient Egyptian goddess represented by the sun, the head of a lion and the body of a woman. We welcome Sekhmet and allow her to ignite our fire, our creativity. And breathe into that fire with your love. With your devotion. Dressed in red, blessing us with both the creation and the destruction of transformation, Sekhmet fans the flame of purification and constantly in motion, moving around and through our resistance. She inspires our action as we surrender. What must I surrender to allow divine will, divine action? And with humility, offer this now to Sekhmet. Surrender this to Sekhmet. Always ready to serve. Moving up into the fourth chakra, take a breath into the heart. We call in Amaterasu, the Japanese Shinto goddess, whose luminous light shines for all of the world. We ask that she ignite her golden flame in our heart. Allow your heart to flower, to blossom. what does that feel like? Where there's no effort required to offer love and compassion. We just allow the fragrance of our heart as light to be gifted to the world. And see that expanding out now, rippling out into the world. Moving up into the fifth chakra, the throat. We invoke Pallas Athena. The Greek goddess of wisdom who embodies ultimate truth. The I am that I am. I exist because I am existence. Holding a staff of leadership and wearing a helm of wisdom at her crown, she always has with her Nike, the goddess of victory, because the truth is victorious. Ask that your voice, your truth be ignited. Are there any words that you've been afraid to speak? Let those words be spoken. Say the words that you long to say. Welcome that truth and wisdom. Inviting that full expression of your being. Breathing powerfully into the throat chakra. There's so much non-truth that comes out of our mouths. We release and anchor the truth. This blessing from Athena. And now to the sixth chakra, the first eye between the eyebrows. We call in the high priestess Isis of ancient Egypt. Expand your breath, breathing into the first eye. Expanding the breath breathing into the seat of our intuition, that inner knowledge and understanding. And as you exhale, feel it expand throughout your whole field. And the energy is increasing its frequency. There's more heat as we welcome Isis, more and more open to Isis, more. Yes. Inviting Isis to expand in the first eye, in the pineal gland. She holds all of that information of devotion and understanding of the highest self. And listening with complete purity will touch the flows of existence, concentrating in the first eye. And now moving upward to the crown of the head, we invoke Shekhinah from the Hebrew tradition. Known as the movement over the waters of creation. When we are one with creation, this is Shekhinah. In the presence of God, this is Shekhinah. The gateway to the highest aspects of ourself. Divine potential, divine light. And Shekhinah brings unity of each of the goddesses within us. In union, we balance and we harmonize and align all of the energies of the chakras. You can just breathe from the base, one fluid breath up to the crown. And back down. harmonizing the energies of home, of joy, of power, transformation and divine will, of love, radiance, truth, wisdom, intuition, focus, devotion, sacred movement, and sacred presence. And now we invoke and offer our devotion to our beloved Mary Magdalena, a divine master, the full embodiment of the divine feminine in all of its power and tenderness and grace. Mary Magdalena fully embodies each quality of these goddesses as the fearless, devoted Lady Master. Invite her presence into each cell. Can visualize Mary in her red cloak, with her huge open heart pulsating this love in each of the trillions of cells in the body. Balancing the divine masculine and the divine feminine within. Mary Magdalena, think through me, see through me, speak through me, love through me, act through me, move through me. Offering our gratitude to each of the goddesses. The goddesses as consciousness, not separate from us at all, just parts of us. And feeling your feet on the ground, we'll just anchor these energies deep into the core of the earth, locking in the energies at the core, and then coming back up through the layers. Landing in the heart and anchoring in the heart. So, taking your time to come back. We're going to move into anointment before we have a meditation in the Temple of Isis. first I'll just share a little bit about my experience with the stars in Egypt. So I was initiated into 7 stars through a book called Energy Blessings from the Stars. And that was over 20 years ago, before I met Saima. And I started forming a relationship with the star Arcturus after that, reading that and receiving those initiations. Arcturus now is offering humanity the blessing of hope, meaning anything is possible. And so they're doing also many esoteric things, but that's the main blessing that they're offering. And I want to speak a little bit about the stars because so much of the design of the temples and pyramids was in direct relationship with the stars. And the temple of Isis, originally in its original location in Philae, the island of Philae, was aligned perfectly with Sirius. And Sirius is offering the blessing of Christ consciousness. Arcturus is actually, will be in the future, pretty distant future, taking over that particular blessing. So in the future, Arcturus will be offering the blessing of Christ consciousness. And I'll just name a couple other stars that were very important to the ancient Egyptians. In Orion's belt, there is Rigel and Betelgeuse, and Rigel is offering the blessing of the integration of matter with spirit, and is also offering, that's the main offering, and then Betelgeuse is offering the blessing of soul awareness. So anywhere that I am in the world, I kind of like to play a game of like, where is Arcturus? And I usually just immediately go to it. I could just find it immediately. Well, every day, leading up to our visit to the Temple of Isis, I couldn't find Arcturus. Like, I was looking everywhere. I take out my little app and my sky guide and can see all the constellations and no Arcturus anywhere. But then, in the middle of the night, on our way to the island, I kind of lean out of the boat and I look up, and directly above me is this, sparkling star. And I said, that's Arcturus. And I took out my app, and sure enough, it was right there above me. So it felt really, really special to have it aligned during this initiation in the temple. So a bit about the temple. It's designed, has everyone seen the Temple of Isis? Yeah, so it's designed, with kind of in the Greek Roman design, with the columns, the stone columns outside. There's a big courtyard, and then an inner courtyard, and then the inner sanctuary. And it was, in 1970, it was moved. 60,000 bricks were moved to another island because it was at risk of being submerged underwater. So it's no longer perfectly aligned with Sirius. So this was, I felt like actually this was the reason why I went to Egypt, is to have this initiation in the temple. And for those that would like, I'm going to offer an anointment. So this oil I got when I was there. And in one of the temples, the Temple of Darkness and Light, there's one room that has all of the recipes of the essential oils. It's just a book. I can show you a video. I can pass that around later. A book of all the essential oils. And Saima brought us to one particular part of the room where Ma said was the most sacred recipe of the essential oils, and it's the blue lotus. So it's this. There's a drawing of one of the kings offering Osiris, the blue lotus oil, or a blue lotus flower is the way that it's drawn and depicted in the wall. So we'll activate this, and it goes on the third eye. You play the song. Imagine you are in a small motorboat, 3 a.m., making your way across the Nile. in the southern Nile Valley near Aswan to the island of Agil-Ika. The moon is waxing and it is about 70% illuminated. You are with 29 other souls, pregnant with ritual and reverence. You hear the sounds of the water breaking against the boat, the hum of the motor, a shuffling of belongings here and there. And although there is sound, it is silent. The air is cool at about 60 degrees, but even the temperature is silent. Feel this silence. You arrive at the island, exit the boat, and walk through the courtyard. The silence is a magnet, and you begin to feel that the temple structure and the temple of your own body are one. There's a knowingness in you, a knowing that you have been here before. It is a homecoming. You walk past the outer courtyard, the courtyard for the commoners, through the inner courtyards for the nobles, the priests and priestesses, to the innermost sanctuary of the temple. There are carvings in the walls, hieroglyphics, and you reach out your hand, touch the stone, the ancient stone. And before passing through the final courtyard to the sanctuary, you pause. You take a moment to become more awakened to the initiation that is forthcoming. The chamber in the heart of the sanctuary awaits you. And it has an altar at its center, a pillar, stone pillar. On the altar, there are 64 crystals that have been resting in the lap of the Divine Mother for months. You step toward the altar. You bend over slightly and rest your first eye on the altar. And you have the sensation of drinking a diamond light. You sit down, rest your back against the stone altar, and begin listening. What are you listening for? You are listening for Isis. Divine Mother, whose name is also Aset, the throne. Which represents power. A wind moves through the temple and carries with it a song that seems to come from the stars, as if the goddess is playing a crystal bowl in the cosmos. That wind is Isis. You become more silent. Feeling more presence and power. The energies of Isis further activating in you. You become aware that you are in the temple of love, house of love. feel yourself more embodied. Silent. And the sun begins to rise. As the becoming of you emerges, a new you. With the new dawn. We'll complete with the Mary Magdalena blessing. Three to 4 minutes in silence. Just open yourself to the energies. Om JJ Sai Ma. I honor the divine feminine within each of you. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Anybody like to share anything? Yes.
Okay, can you hear me now? So I have a lot of synchronicities going on with what you brought here tonight. When I first moved to Oceanside about five plus years ago, I got interested in a gentleman online whose name is Gene Eng, A-N-G, and he is an Arcturian, and he sends out Arcturian connections. That's the first thing. And I always felt very connected to him. Recently, about 7-8 months ago, I connected with the Blue Lotus flower on the internet, and immediately I had to get it and get the oil. So that I felt was very significant. And then recently, Sunday, I went to the King Tut exhibit here in town, and as soon as I walked into it, I got hit with enormous energy and a download. So I am very aware that I've had at least one life in Egypt, and I've been told by my guides that my planet of origin at this point is Sirius. And so I feel very connected. And just now, when we were doing the blessings, I felt very, very connected. And when you did the last part of it, my heart just opened up, and I just felt the energy streaming out of it to all of you.
Thank
So,
you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
That reminds me too that in the King's Chamber, I sent the energy to Dennis and then to the Temple of Clarity. So I imagine it reached everybody. Yeah. Yes. 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 Yeah.
Well, it was very familiar to me. Actually, I had a past life where I was Queen Nefertari. Queen Nefertiti is much more well-known. Queen
Yeah.
Nefertari is Ramses the second's
yeah.
favorite wife.
Mhm.
And when I was in Egypt, as soon as I saw the statues of the two of them, I started sobbing.
Mm.
And I'm going, why am I sobbing over these statues? So it was a great exploration of that. And then one of the guys on Facebook I made a connection with ended up sending me a replica of Queen Nefertari's, well, it's a neck piece. It's really not just a necklace, it's a neck piece. I probably should have worn it tonight. So it was lovely. The energy was very familiar. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Jane. Come on, Lisa.
Well, I think we discussed about had been to Egypt before, and this is a lovely remembrance. Just the end of just the being and the heat, and it's just so wonderful, you know, the feeling of the gods and the goddesses. And recently, I've been very connected to Isis for like 8 months, you know. And so this is really lovely for that blessing. I'm really grateful. And I just finished a video about Arcturus. Yeah. Yeah, Arcturus is a great, great friend to us all.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
Mm.
Lovely meditation. Thank you so much, Elizabeth.
Thank you. I love all the I love all the synchronicities. So cool.
Yeah, thank you. I just have to share this. So I work with essential oils with doTERRA,
Okay.
and every once in a while, the company somebody will sign up through the company that's through the internet, and then they send an email. So I got an email last week, and I got this person named Isis. Yeah. I think like Friday, something like that. And then I pulled a card recently, and it was the Isis card. And then Dennis shared this event, so I had to come. So yeah, I haven't really consciously been connecting with her, but it was a beautiful meditation. And yeah, and I bought the Blue Lotus recently, but I haven't opened it because I've kind of been saving it. So now I'm going to open it. Yeah. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think it's more about if it's Egyptian energy or any other energies, actually they are in sync. And we need to open ourselves to a more complete view, because whatever it was, let's say Isis or something like that, it is actually an expression of whatever it is at a more universal level. So that expresses at some point in a way, but then it shows up in a different way. It can be Shakti, it can be Shiva, it can be you, it can be me. So that kind of is showed, like a very unified way. So whenever we are open to them, to be open to way more than we can understand, because at that moment more doors open. And then opening those doors, somehow, even though we cannot put a word toward it, there is a knowledge, a knowing which goes beyond that. And then that goes, I don't know, you know what I mean. And I felt her, your wife. She was here. She sent the cat, actually.
She what?
She sent the cat.
She sent the cat to you?
Yeah. She said that it's like a joy,
Yeah.
like a playfulness.
We had a cat, his name was Bongo. And so Bongo would always, if we had a gathering, Bongo would be in the middle of the room playing.
Yeah. So it's more like really play, have fun, enjoy. Very nice. Thank you anyway. Thank you so much, because it was really an open.
Thank you.
I have a cat that's the reincarnation of Goddess Basset, and she acts like it too.
Well, I just want to share a couple things. I didn't know about the essential oils being written in the stones in the temples. So cool. And I get my essential oils from Dana there. So the the Arcturian connection is so beautiful for me too. And what I do is I always look for Venus. I always immediately find Venus, and then I can see I can see the belt or Orion's belt, and then everything kind of like lines up. But when you're in India, it's a completely different sky up there. You go, where am I? I'm a little bit lost there. Mary Magdalene. It's such a beautiful time where Lisa and I were talking about how Mary Magdalene is now being recognized as, an equal with Jesus, that they were married, and a Christ in her own right, Divine Mother in her own right, and that the Divine Mother, through that connection 2,000 years ago, is finally being resolved in a higher way that wasn't recognized at the time, because there's a patriarchal thing back then, pretty much, a crazy world. It was an upside down world. Nobody wanted to come to this planet because it was nothing. Right was wrong and up was down, and like so much had to be cleared out, to finally get to a place like this where the Divine Mother is in the West, in the North, and in the South, and in the East now is understood. This high vibration coming in, this higher understanding. And I know we're getting closer to the golden age, when all these understandings kind of merge into this one understanding. And when that happens, there's a prophecy in Buddhism that the second coming of the Buddha, of Maitreya, he'll be coming. So we're pushing that prophecy maybe ahead of time, because it's supposed to be 500 years after the birth of the United States. So, but that doesn't mean it can't be accelerated.
And then, of course, say Maitreya is a female when she appears.
And Maitreya might be a female when she appears. And I think the Dalai Lama said he was going to be female when he comes back. So a lot of things happening, a lot of things moving. And we're all doing our part. So the essential oils, they use those in the embalming, and they also use that in healing.
And also Mary Magdalena was trained in the Temple of Isis, and in like her adolescence, and she didn't really understand fully why she was there until she prepared Jesus for the ascension. So she really had a very significant role in the ascension, and through their union, through their physical union also. And I also thought it's a good moment to share. So Saima has been working quite a bit with our physical anatomy, with our cells, with the DNA, and with essentially deprogramming all dis-ease and lack of health, and activating the divine blueprint, right? And so we've had many different, sharings in the community of what's changing, of what's evolving. But I just wanted to share mine. So when Ma was here in January, I had probably for a good 6 years an issue with C1 and C2 in my cervical spine and pain. And after the Health Span, the programs that Ma's offering right now is called Health Span by Design. I don't know, I'm pretty sure it was not just that program, but then Ma offers energy sessions. And so I do an energy session whenever Ma offers it. Since that energy session, complete freedom here. It's just completely transformed. So there's another program, another Health Span by Design coming. The next one, if you're interested in doing it online, is in Belgium. But then Ma is going to be physically present in Denver. So I thought I would just extend that invitation to you all. Yeah, and those energy sessions will be offered as well. So,
Any news about San Diego again?
oh, not yet, but Ma will be back. Yeah, Ma was really pleased with the program in January, and Darshan and Ma's coming back.
Well, thank you so much for this beautiful meditation and transmission. I just want to say, if anybody online would like to contact Elizabeth, let me know. I'll forward the information. You can actually post in the chat, and I'll check the chat later. Or you can email me.
Yeah, I just really want to thank this community. I'm leaving in just a couple weeks, and I am planning on, I'm planning on coming back permanently. And so we'll see how quickly that unfolds. But I have never in my life entered a community and just felt such resonance and welcoming and love, and I am so blessed. I mean, I don't know how many orphans I saved in a past life, but I just feel so blessed from meeting Dennis in Chicago and him inviting me to the temple. And it's really, I think it's your open heart, your openness that just draws our souls together. And I am just so grateful. So, and thank you for playing in this Egyptian playground tonight, because it was really fun to create it. And yes, just grateful. Welcome. Yes.
And Lito, he was such a crack up.